cutting off my connection with earth, with the ground. You are cutting off the efficacy of my life source and the good fortune it is supposed to bring. And they took time to learn where the greatest source of our strength is. And they went to pluck it out from the root. Rhodesy went and put his statue Lapa on Kamisa because he said the Kamisa people must come and praise me and regenerate what it is that I'm doing on this mountain.
Dumelang, Botani, Absheni, Molweni, Sanbonani. Hello. From wherever you're watching us, thank you for choosing this podcast. My name is Tiane Duda. Ufaka unyawo uzuthatha undayeni uhlamba ngobubende amaze khona sibisithi unjana ungqungqushe usiqalekazi. Welcome to this podcast the name of the podcast is Umhlaba Talks by the Land and Accountability Research Center at the University of Cape Town. In this episode, I'm not alone as usual. I'm with my co-host Umhlaba. Umhlaba, say hi.
Hi.
And we are graced by the presence of an amazing guest today, uGogo Bazamile, Dr. Christy Fanzai. Say hi, Dr. Christy. Gogo, ebantwini.
Thokozani, Camagoyini, Lesedi, ngidinga udlamini usibalikhulu impolozweni yami ngethaba lindlovu zekhaya ngoba sisulumelusi. Ngiyabulisa ngegama ledlozi nangegama lenkosi.
Bota Gogo. Dr. Christy Fanzai is a licensed traditional health practitioner, scholar of African medicine, and social activist. She's currently piloting the University of Cape Town's Indigenous Healthcare Advisory Service, spearheading the development of an Indigenous wellness offering within the cultural diversity portfolio of UCT. Christy is also a consultant under the Shakura Consulting umbrella, offering social innovation interventions for healing from our tumultuous past at the intersections of identity and wellness. Christy is a dynamic, people-oriented professional with experience in multidisciplinary arts, social entrepreneurship, and Indigenous wellness industries. Welcome, Gogo Bazamile. Today's episode is going to be focusing on exploring decolonial perspectives of land. And we are also going to be unpacking the intergenerational trauma of land dispossession and also explore the healing modalities that are needed around in relation to such dispossession. Perhaps to kick us off, before we even go into our topic, would like to invite Umhlaba with a small game that we'll play just to settle ourselves. Umhlaba, over to you.
Thank you. I have just 10 questions just to get
10?
to know how well you know your... Just 10. 10, it's 5 minutes. How well you know your land. Let's see. The winner takes all. I have prizes, 2 prizes, but I will only reveal the prizes after the winner has been declared. The first question is a very simple question, just to get you off. How many official languages are included in South African national anthem?
4.
4.
Both of you are wrong.
Huh? What is the answer?
It's 5. It's
5.
Xhosa, it's Zulu, it's Sotho, English, and Afrikaans.
Combine them into one.
Okay.
How many
I have
official
questions, but it's fine.
officially recognized? You can ask your question. How many are officially recognized in the Constitution? I think we are talking about the languages again here.
12. Okay, maybe 11.
Officially recognized by the
In the Constitution.
Yes.
I'll say 11 in the Constitution.
I also believe it is 11.
I think I'm not going to have a winner today. I don't know what's going to happen.
No, but is that in the Constitution? Because I know there's 12,
Yes, in the
but is there 12 in the Constitution?
No, I'm not giving you the answer. You must. You
It was
are
a
very-
12,
sign
which is sign
language
language.
is
Yes,
also
it's-
recognized, and it.
but is it in the constitution though?
This one, you'll get the answer correctly for
Okay,
sure.
he's telling us to move. He's forcing us to move on. Okay.
Which indigenous group in South Africa is the most well known for its pride in cultural diversity and traditional leadership?
isiZulu.
Correct. 1-0.
Well done.
Which city in South Africa is home to the world's largest man-made forest? with
Joburg.
Over there. Okay. Eish. Hey, it looks like you are fighting. You are all fighting to win.
Of course, I want to win.
Which is the common name used to refer to traditional healers in South Africa?
Isangoma.
Okay. What is the national animal of South Africa?
The blue crane.
Animal.
Indwe.
Animal.
Oh,
It's a blue crane. Indwe.
ayangazi mina.
Ki Springbok.
What? No. That's not the national
Amabhokobhoko,
animal.
the
Is the
national
blue crane?
animal of South Africa.
Yeah, that's a sport. That's for rugby.
Like ngempela.
Ngempela.
No, whoever.
Hey.
No.
Lama answers akho kodwa mina
Uh-uh,
ngizwa
I'm
ngathi
contesting.
the people that are providing these answers for you, hey, I'm questionable.
It's a blue crane. Indwe.
No, you
Or
got
national
it
bird.
wrong,
Okay,
but,
animal.
you are right to be wrong sometimes.
Okay. I don't like Umhlaba very much right now.
Which one of these? Which one is the oldest proclaimed nature reserve in Africa? There is Kruger National Park in Limpopo. There is Pilanesberg National Park in Northwest. There is Ado Elephant National Park in Eastern Cape, and there is Hluhluwe Imfolozi Park, KwaZulu Natal.
Hluhluwe.
It's Kruger.
That's 3-1. Hluhluwe is the correct answer.
Okay.
Okay.
When,
We've got how
can we
many?
finish
Very
already?
few.
I don't like this game.
You're a higher grade fighter.
Vilakazi Street in Gauteng was once home to two Nobel Prize winners, former President Nelson Mandela and late Archbishop Tutu. In which township is it located?
Soweto.
It's 4-2.
What we started at the same time.
Yes, you got a point, she got a point.
Oh, for two. Oh, sorry, maths.
Which two oceans meet in Western Cape?
The Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean. I have to fight.
Okay. And let me then declare the winner. Can we guess who the winner is?
Do we get a point for that?
So the prize is 1. You get back your smile and your happiness. So you've got 2 prizes. And the third prize for you specially is a booklet from a research that we did in Makasaneni by luck. So we'll give it to you after the program.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Give yourself a round of applause.
This competition was
Sakuba
rigged.
nomona.
This competition was
Mona.
rigged, but we are not Mona-rising. We are not Mona Lisas.
We don't walk alone.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mhlaba, for that game.
That
As
was
much as I've
amazing.
lost, I'm not bitter.
This is-
So perhaps if we can get into the topic of discussion, exploring the colonial notions of land or perspectives on land, unpacking intergenerational trauma on land disposition and healing. So perhaps can we start with, from your perspective, what is the relationship between humans and land, between Abantu nomhlaba?
Okay, I'm going to start with the concept of energy, right? Energy, as we know it scientifically, is relativism, right? So how do you relate to your environment? We relate to our environment because we are built up of the elements. According to African cosmology, we are built up of the elements. So every single aspect of energy points in your body carries ancestral energy, which feeds off the natural elements, right? So each of these ancestral energies have a specific aspect of nature where they feed off energy from strength energy, resilience energy, any kind of energy that you're looking for within those aspects. So according to our beliefs, we are also the natural environment within ourselves, which is why indigenous peoples live in respect of the natural environment, because we are built up of the natural
Mm,
environment. So if
mm.
you are ruining it outside of you, you are ruining it inside of you.
Ooh, wow. Um, okay, I'm gonna need you to pause there because that was just like
Okay.
took me away.
So imagine, think about it. If I'm saying you're ruining it inside of you.
Mm,
A typical example is the body's made up of 70% of water.
mm,
So if you're polluting water, it's the same water that still goes back inside of your body.
yeah.
So if you're polluting nature, it's the same nature that you ask for strength for. But if
Mm,
you are
mm,
going back to it and it's polluted, what kind of strength are you going to get from that polluted space? Because then it's not regenerating its natural strength.
mm. I mean, from what you're saying, which is amazing. I am moved and also brought to a standstill at the same time. But what we're seeing these days is there seems to be a focus on the materiality of land. You know, like you don't get that perspective that highlights and draws attention to the connection between the human and the land and land. And also, you seem to be implying that there's a co-consecutive relationship between land and the human. So, I mean, with the introduction of Western notions of land, which came through colonialism, it seems as though that relationship has been changed. And even when we're talking about land dispossession, we seem to be talking about something very superficial, you know, just land, you know. So from your perspective, what has the presence of colonial and Western notions of land done to those relationships that
Right.
you're painting right now?
So if you think about it, right, when the Witchcraft Act of 1957 came in, people say that all it did was demonize our cultural practice,
Mm.
right? But what they don't understand is the impact of the demonization of that cultural practice. If we look at the history of the Witchcraft Act coming from the UK and Europe, right?
Mm.
So that was specifically done to target women that had spiritual gifts, right?
Yeah.
So they come into Africa, they see Uguti in Africa. Cultural practices are the core of our strength,
Yeah.
and back in pre-colonial times, most people that were healers and most people that carried that relationship with the earth were healers, and most of them were women, right?
Mm.
So you're bringing in patriarchy, you're bringing in the demonization of women, you're bringing in the demonization of culture, you're bringing in the demonization of our connection to nature, right?
Mhm.
And our connection as women is the strongest connection because we are the carriers of womb, we are creators, right? So what that means is that we are able to regenerate the same strength that nature regenerates, right?
Yeah.
So if we are then stripped of that ability to be able to reconnect with nature, you are stripping us of our the potency of our healing,
Mm.
right? So, and this is the part that most people never ever they just like, hi, they just took away our ability to practice, and not understanding that our ability to practice means taking away the ability to harness the potency of our healing, harness the strength of the potency of our healing
Mm.
from our connection nomhlaba. Do you understand? And then if you understand it correctly, we as in African cosmology, we understand, and ontology, we understand that Mhlaba is ground,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And when we speak of the elements within the human body, you're talking about the ground, which is the base, and you're talking about water, and you're talking about air, and you're talking about fire, right? So the air and the fire elements are in your crown chakra, are in your throat chakra, in your ear, right? And then you're talking about the ground and the water, which is your base chakra, which is right at the base, right? Which is where your life source begins. Now, if you are cutting off my connection with earth, with the ground, you are cutting off the efficacy of my life source and the good fortune it is supposed to bring and regeneration of strength into my life.
Wow. Wow. So, do you do you think this severing of the connection between the human and earth or and land, especially women, do you think this was done
Deliberate.
intentionally, deliberately? It was planned?
Absolutely.
And
They took time to learn where the greatest source of our strength is.
Mm.
And they went to pluck it out from the root, made it illegal to reconnect. Why? Because they knew that had we sustained that connection, they would not have been able to dominate us.
Mm.
Because we would have continued gaining guidance from the spirit world throughout that process of them giving us the Bible and taking the land.
Mm.
There were prophets that foresaw it happening.
Tsigan.
But they did what? They demonized the vision coming from those prophets.
Mm.
To say what? To say, no, that's incorrect. That's not of God. That is not of uNkulunkulu. Now, how can you say that which was created by God to be is not of God, right?
Wow.
So that they can then take their narrative of using God's word to oppress and control, right?
Mm.
So that we
Mm.
are no longer then thinking about our practices. And how do they enforce that? They enforce it through violence. So we were being whipped, we were being fined, and we were being killed.
Mm.
So you best believe that if wena you think that you're going to come with a vision from the gods, think about the fact that soqala sikushaye sikubulale before that message comes out.
Wow. I feel like I was not ready for this conversation, but because it's just hitting all the points. And I mean, the question is that I have in mind before I invite Mhlaba to also make a contribution. If you're saying that the connection between land and the humans was severed through acts such as the Witchcraft Act and the violence that was, practiced on people who were gifted, I mean, we are still living on Earth. Are you saying we no longer have that connection? I mean, we're living on land. It's not like we're living on air or we're living somewhere else. We still sisahlala emhlabeni. So what then are you saying that connection is no longer there?
So I'm not saying that the connection's no longer there,
Okay.
right? What I am saying is that psychologically for us, it's difficult to regain that connection, to reinstate that connection, because also even the way that earth that was taken from us, that land is being treated, it makes it difficult for us to go back and reconnect with it,
Mm.
because now it's become industrialized, because now it's become capitalized, because now it's become only something that can produce value according to currency,
Mm.
and not
Mm.
something that produces spiritual currency for us. So to remove the spiritual currency for us means that psychologically we are so impacted that those indigenous knowledges to this day, we are still struggling to cover the gap between the indigenous knowledge that's being passed down to us and the indigenous knowledge that existed pre-colonial times. Because now what is being passed down to us is incomplete. It is riddled with violence, it is riddled with trauma. And when our elders are trying to pass it down, they're passing it down from a place of fear, and desperation, because now it's a life or death situation. Now it has to be as a response to life or death, not as a form of maintaining and sustaining and preserving and prevention.
Mm.
It's become difficult for us to use it in that manner. When we are trying to use it in that manner, the spaces in which we are sent to go and revitalize that connection are now wardened off and fenced off. And it takes a lot for us to be able to get to those spaces. I can even go back to talking about Kamisa, Table Mountain. I can even go back to talking about Urodzi went and put his statue Lapa on Kamisa, because he said the Kamisa people must come and praise me and regenerate what it is that I'm doing on this mountain, so that I block their original God ordained connection to this mountain.
Sure.
So
Okay.
Rhodes needs to go.
Mm.
Because Rhodes is blocking the Kamisa people's original connection to the source of strength in the mountain.
Rhodes needs to go. Okay, before we go any further, Mhlaba, you wanted to come in.
Yo, this conversation is very deep. She's saying that the umbilical cord between a human and her land has been cut. And maybe I suspect that in various areas, rural and cities, that there's a difference. And what could be the varying differences that people experience this trauma through? Can you then just explain what kind of trauma are we going through as society, and how do we best maybe deal with this within our localities between the rural and the urban?
I can. Um, it's actually a very painful conversation because if you think about it, go all the way back to usiko lakwaNtu, which is uma ngabe uma wami engizala, my umbilical cord is then done what? It is then buried in my land,
Mm.
right? On my
Yeah.
land, in my homestead,
Yeah.
right? In the rural area, that is the manner in which it is practiced. In the city area, the lack of respect for that umbilical connection is such that umuntu cannot even walk out of hospital with their umbilical cord and the amniotic sac to be able to go and do a ritual that reconnects you with the land, because that connects you with the spiritual energy of the land. Imbeleko yakho iyathathwa, igcitshwe, kube nosiko la ifakwa khona emhlabeni, so that you are constantly connected with that land. Manje, in the city areas, the practice of being able to take that amniotic sac and that umbilical cord to go and bury it in land. In which land am I going to bury it in the city?
Mm.
So even our practice of trying to reinstate that connection with the land it's now been stripped of us. Because that is a ritual for us that maintains your connection with that land, so that at any point in your lifetime you can go back there uyolanda amandla. Ngesintu sithi kubalekile ukunyathela ekhaya.
Mm.
Unyathela ekhaya ngoba imbeleko yakho isekhaya. Manje la imbeleko yakho uzoyigcibaphi uma ngabe ngila edrobheni?
So just to add to Shaba's question, was you highlight the urban side, the shortcomings of being in an urban space where you are unable to forge a connection with land. In rural areas, are people still able to forge those connections?
Definitely. In rural areas, umhlaba unikwa inkosi. Awunikwa umthetho. Unikwa inkosi. Inkosi ofika kuyo ufika uyocela umhlaba kuyo. You understand into engisho? Noma inkosi kube yiyona efika kuwe, the chief efika kuwe izothi nawo umhlaba. Ngokwesintu thina senza kanjalo. Not ngokomthetho wesilungu. Ngokomthetho wesintu, indigenous law. Yabona into engishoyo? Lapho futhi iy'nkosi ziyazi ukuthi uma ngabe sinika umuntu omnyama umhlaba, simnika umuntu omnyama umhlaba khona azokwazi yena ukuba nesibaya sakhe, azokwazi ukuthi mhlambe abe namathuna in the backyard mayefuna, mhlambe. So the space in which you are given, it's a vastly exponential amount of space that allows you ukuthi you have oronta, izindumba eziningi-ke mangibiza kanjalo mawuthanda, uyabo? Ngoba we build homesteads khona zonke iy'ngane zekhaya zizoba nendlu yazo la on this homestead. So each of us, me and the four of my siblings, my mother and father will have indlu enkulu, and then mina ngiba nendlu yami, nosisi wami abe nendlu yakhe, nobhuti wami abe nendlu yakhe, nobhuti wami abe nendlu yakhe. Uma ngabe sekunesizukulu futhi, nabo futhi, it's either bathatha izindlu zethu noma sibakhele izindlu zabo, depending ngesimo sabo sokushada ukuthi impilo yabo ihamba kanjani, yabo? Kodwa naleso simo sokushada siyalungiselwe ngokosiko, uyabo? Khona umuntu azokwazi ukuhluma abe nekhaya lakhe naye, bese kuba abantu abadala kibo abamnika umhlaba naye noma uhambe uyocelwa kwinkosi, yabo? Which means we have an exponential amount of space to be able to do that for ourselves. Lana, you don't own the land. Futhi, you own the land in the rural area. Lana, you don't own the land. Uqashile. Uqashile. Most of us siqashile lana. You don't own the land. And if you do own the land, there are restrictions to what you are and are allowed to do on that land. Yabona into engishoyo? So siyazama. Do you know what I mean? Siyakokotela, sibe nento esisapho sibayaga, into ebolekayo, uyabo? Emadrobheni. Kodwa ngokwangempela mina angeke ngithi ngihlala ekhaya elisha, ngiyazi ukuthi njengoba ngihlala ekhaya elisha angi-own lana. Uma ngabe ingane yami izalwa, mina fanele ngihambe ngithathe imbeleko yami, ngigoduke ngiphindele ekhaya, ngiyoyigqibela ekhaya inkaba yengane yami. Uyabona into engishoyo? Manje ngezinye iy'nkathi kuba nzima ukuyenza leyo nto ngoba ngesimo somnotho asivumi. Faneke kube nabantu abadala, faneke kube nento ey'ningi uma ngabe uzokwenza usiko olunjalo ngoba lihambisana nanembeleko.
Mm.
Depending ukuthi your clan, when do they do imbeleko? Yabo?
Yanzulu impendulo yakho. Yanzulu kakuhle, hayi nzulu kakuhle. This is exactly what we intend to excavate.
Mhm.
Because when we're talking about land in the legislation, in courts, it's always in superficial terms. This dimension of what land means to people is it's always hidden, and it's like there's no space for it because of the frameworks that we use when we talk about land. And I mean, what you just narrated right now reminds me of my mother's family, and I observed how my great grandfather had land, and they have land in different villages, in 3 villages. And my grandfather inherited the land from the great grandfather. And in one of the villages, he was supposed to have built a homestead there. He didn't. And then he lived in another village. And then that space was left unoccupied for like 2 or 3 generations. No one ever took it because it belongs to my mother's family. And it's only recently that my mother was given that piece of land. And what I found amazing about that is that it captures exactly what you're saying about this strong and rich connection with land, because now there's this circulation of energy from like many generations before. And when we talk about land in very superficial terms, we don't include that level of that meaning. And also when we talk about loss of land, that loss is never calculated. So I really like what you just shared right now about what that connection with the land actually means. So now, the connection having been severed, what are the effects of that? How do they manifest?
Nkosi Jesu. Kuyafana nengane enganamasiko.
Mm.
Kuyafana nokuthi that original connection that's supposed to be made. Angithi izolo nkathi sikhuluma bengike ngasho ngathi usiko liqala ingane isasesiswini.
Mm.
Yabo? Iqanjwa ubani? Ivele kanjani ingane? Yabo? That, and I'm consistently going to do this connection between the land and the human
Yeah.
as intimately as we are speaking of it, because I want our people to understand that the violation could have disempowered us, but also nathi uma ngabe sithi sifuna umhlaba wethu, we shouldn't be fighting it economically or politically. We should be fighting it spiritually. We are not fighting it spiritually. Our leaders, ka-government, ungahleka uzulale ngizobiza amagama manje, kodwa abantu abanjengo-Cyril Ramaphosa no-Jacob Zuma abantu abahlonishwayo la abaqhamuka khona, as traditional leaders where they come from. Yabona into engishoyo?
Yeah.
But when they get to parliament or when they get to government, they leave their traditional leader, spiritual, communal responsibility at the door. So my issue with our leaders is that they are leaving their spiritual, communal responsibility selves at the door. And they are very much people that are in touch with their culture. Angeke ungitshele ukuthi uGedlehlekisa akayazi lento engishoyo. Angeke nje ungitshele ukuthi akayazi lento engishoyo, ngoba wazi kahle yena ukuthi njengoba ezishiya yena emnyango, he is conforming to what he needs to do to be able to be inside the governmental or political space. Which is, again, how often do you see our traditional leaders standing up in parliament? How often do you see our traditional leaders coming forth to speak and say, spiritually, inkaba yethu ayisekho? I understand it, engishoyo. And to say ayisekho on the basis of, even if it's just one child whose umbilical cord was not buried correctly, that means all of us are hurt. Inja one, inja all.
Mm.
Sonke silimele. Our people are not going forth and saying, "Yebantu, yazi ngokosiko lesintu, njengabantu abaphilela emhlabeni wesintu. Asike siyibuke lento sike sizibuke thina ukuthi sona kanjani," which means that we are ruining automatically the spiritual legacies that our young people are inheriting.
Yeah.
And then we want to go and question why young people are struggling so much with mental health issues, with psycho-spiritual stress, with emotional health issues. Because there, where they would have been able to go and regain their strength, okokuqala abasayifundiswa leyo nto. Okwesibili, they won't find that predisposition to it, towards going back to embo, ukubuyela embo. Masibuyele emba kithi. They won't have that internal intuitive predisposition for ukubuyela embo and start asking questions about their heritage and about their lineages. Ngani ngoba inkaba ayigqitshwanga ekhaya.
Namagugogo.
Eh,
Kwavokotheka. You can come through Mhlaba.
I have a question from Mhlaba, if I'm allowed.
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So as ungibona ngiluhlanga olubili mina. NgiwumZulu ngapha ngiphinde kube yiBhunu ngapha. Umbuzo wami mina njengomuntu who is of lineage yamaBhunu, siwone kanjani umphefumulo wakho njengomhlaba? Umphefumulo wakho as umhlaba thina sibone kanjani? Never mind thina ukuthi thina sitholani kuwe as umhlaba. Ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi umphefumulo wakho siwone kanjani thina njengabantu abahluthula umhlaba ebantwini wabo.
The answer is that when you took away the land, you stripped away my humanity, because to be with the land, I don't even want to use the word to own land, to be with your land, because actually it's the land that owns us. You are a being, but your being gets stripped away in the minute that is taken away from you. So we are dealing with lack of self-confidence today. We are dealing with a lot of psychological and even spiritual lack because of what has happened to us because of Amabunu, because there is no and I'm very interested in the when you can attempt to a question that comes and says, then how do we move forward from this when there is not even a willingness from that side to say that, look, we are acknowledging that we have wronged you here, and therefore we are willing to then follow whatever you are saying as the person that has been stripped of your personhood as a solution to this problem that we have created. They are the ones that still want to come up with the solutions to the same problems that they have created.
Yeah, I do think that on our side, uhlanga lwesilungu does need to start asking umhlaba the questions. Nabantu abaphila nomhlaba, those who commune with the land. Because communing with the land means communing with ancient knowledge, that where the land tells us how to treat it, where the land shows us how to rejuvenate its natural abilities to rebirth itself over and over again. We see it, the umhlaba is constantly fighting, doing that. And we pretend as Amabhulu, as Abelungu, to be invested in preservation. Yet that which brings impilo back to umhlaba, we restrict it, we regulate it. We're not coming to ask, what does it mean to you as umhlaba? And that means ukukhuluma nalaba abaphilisana nawo umhlaba ukuthi singenza kanjani, uyabo. Okokuqala nje, uma ngabe ngithi sengibuyela kimi-ke manje njengenyangi, uyabo. Okokuqala nje asikakalibuki, khona leli nxeba elikhulu esingakalibuki thina. nje nathi as spiritual leaders khona leli nxeba esingakalibuki elithi njengoba sasigqilazwa thina, njengoba sasihlukunyezwa thina, njengoba sasishawa sasibulawa thina, azange thina njengey'nyangi abaholi balomhlaba sihlangane sithi asihlanganiseni wonke umuntu la eMzansi sike sigeze, siwugeze umhlaba, nathi siy'geze, sigezani? Sigeza leli nxeba lokuhlukumezeka. Okusho ukuthi leli nxeba lisavulekile, and as long as lisavulekile lichukunyezwa, abantu benza ngathi bazolilapha kanti alilashwa, liyakhula. Liyakhula ukhula kwaleli nxeba, ukukhula kokugula kwethu.
Kanye kuloo ndawo, if I may come in.
Yebo.
You're touching on a subject that we touched on in the previous episode, where we acknowledge the fact that so much blood has been spilled and shed on this land. It is soaking wet with the blood of indigenous people. And what do you think is the effect of that? How is that manifesting in today? Because I feel like it's connected to El Neba Utetangano, because people were killed during the colonial invasions. You know, when the colonizer arrived, they killed people in millions. And during apartheid, people died. And people are still dying for land even today as we speak. There are people who have to go to hiding because of mining and developments that are invading the rural space. So what do you think is the impact of all this blood that has been spilled or shed on this land?
If I had to equate it to an image, every single one of us sitting here are uncontrollably crying blood from our eyes. If I had to equate it to an image. And it is the kind of cry that doesn't end. You are constantly, your eyes are just constantly watering, tearing blood, if I had to equate it to an image. And we see this, if I make an example, the land that we are on right now. This land, this university is built on top of slave graves. This university is built on top of slave graves, and you see it in young people in reses that are committing suicide in very painful ways. First of all, because there's psychospiritual activity that is now taking place. When I say psychospiritual, I mean there is communication from the spiritual world that is now reaching out to these children. Because, mind you, as much as Inkaba Yetu has been cut off from us, please believe that our ancestors and the spirits of our forefathers and our lineages are trying to come back to heal us, especially those of us who do not have that connection with the land from birth. Right? As in Inkaba Eqejelwe Mhlabeni.
Yeah.
Right? The ancestors are coming back to fetch their children. Right? And when these ancestors are coming back to fetch our children, there's three things that are happening here. There's enslaved and war-torn and very violent deaths that are happening, right? So there's this activity, this spiritual activity that now young people who are spiritually predispositioned or not positioned at all, but are having spiritual awakenings, are now catching the energy of these spirits that are very angry, that are very hurt, who were never able to be fetched and taken back home to their final resting place. So they were just thrown into holes. They were just thrown into holes and buried in those holes. Imagine how many of these humans, how many of these spirits were thrown into these holes, and then these just buried, and then life continued.
And they built on top of them.
And they built on top of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Secondly, young people are being reconnected. The ancestors are trying to find them again, being reconnected. Uzumtana eti, hey, idlos liangibanga. Right? But now, these kids are unfamiliar with this psychospiritual activity, with this communication from the spirit world, because that indigenous knowledge system of orally passing down that knowledge is not happening anymore. Some people's families completely have written off ancestral veneration. They are completely Christians in their complete writing off of ancestral veneration. Kusho ukuthi kunamasiko kunolwazi efanele ngabe siyalazi thina ukuthi sekufike idlozi manje.
Mm.
Idlozi lizongikhulumisa. Okay, because idlozi lifika nakunoma ubani. Alifiki nje kumuntu othwasayo kuphela. Lifika nakunoma ubani ngoba nawu namadlozi. Lizofika kuwe lizokwazisa ngento eshodayo
Mm.
noma ngento ekufanele iyenzeke. Ube wena ungazi ezingane ukuthi idlozi leli lizokhuluma nami. Yebo. Kodwa manje usuwazi le narrative yakwa Western medicine ethi wena unama auditory hallucinations psychosis. Kanti idlozi lizokhuluma nawe. Yebo. Okwesithathu into eyenzekayo. Imndeni ayifuni ukubalalela abantwana uma ngabe bethi khona izinto engiyibonayo khona izinto engizwayo. Umndeni ofanele ngabe uyahamba ayokwenzana ayoyigeza ingane. Yazi into engishoyo.
Mm.
Khona lo moya omhluphayo ungabisamhlupha. You understand? Lizogezwa igumbi lakhe la ahlala khona. Bese yaqiniswa umntana. Kwenzekalani makwenzeka kanjalo? Senzela ukuthi umoya lo ocasukile ungabisafika kuye ngoba lo moya ocasukile ungangena la phakathi kuye. Ingane izibulale naye.
Mm.
Ngenxa yani? Ngenxa yokucasuka kwaleli dlozi lalabantu ababegqilazekile.
We are deep in a messy situation. I don't have words for it because what you've just shared with us right now just paints a picture of all the problems that we continue to go through. It's like it's not even a cycle. It's like an unfolding disaster. It's really, really sad and heartbreaking because you started with birth, where people are born. And so we are violated from birth. By the time, before you even get home, before you even get to indlu enkulu yakokwenu, before you even get to inkundla yakokwenu, there are missing pieces.
And sometimes inkundla yakokwenu you'll only see it when you are having a rite of passage. Kuphela.
And you are incomplete. I mean, by the time you get there, by the time you get home, even it doesn't matter where you live. Let's say where you reside. By the time you get to where your parents live, you are incomplete because parts of you are left in hospital. And then, I mean, the question that I cannot avoid is what happens to those parts?
They discover.
What is the meaning of that? What does that do to the people who come home incomplete? So we are incomplete human beings, and we're not able to force that connection with the land. Perhaps that's one of the reasons why the land is not returning, because actually we are not continuing to forge the connection with the land. We are disconnected to the land. So, I mean, this is from my observation. This is manifesting in how people, because discourse about land is very popular.
Yes.
Everyone is talking about land. We need the land to come back. But when you actually listen to it, it's quite empty. You know, it's like people are not saying how should this land come back, and you're not seeing people taking action in actually returning this land or claiming this land back. It's like empty words. So it's an interesting parallel from what you just told us about, not being able to forge a connection with the land. And I would like to come back to leadership, because I think as much as Inkosi have the role of, an important role in relation to land, what we're seeing right now, actually, instead of giving land to people, they're taking land away from people. Of course, it's not all of them, but, that experience is quite common. And also I have another question about, governmental leadership and space. I'm sorry, I'm throwing many questions to you at the same time, because you mentioned something about the presidents leaving themselves at the door, checking themselves at the door. I think there's something interesting about what you said about birth and connecting with space. And, do you think that is because Parliament is not an indigenous space? Because the people who rule in that space have not forged a connection with the space in the same way that we forge a connection with Amakaya Etu, with Inkundla Zethu, as you were saying earlier. Do you think that has an effect on how on their leadership?
each and every one of these leaders that we're speaking of, I guarantee you, ukuthi amasiko banawo.
No. I get it, Babana Masiko, but I'm talking about Parliament, the buildings as a space, and how it's occupied, how it's navigated. You know, compare that to, let's say, my home. When I was born, my umbilical cord was buried at home, so a connection was forged. And when a Ingosi Ibegwa, or you know, the rituals that are performed to connect them with the space that they're gonna lead. So for Parliament, which is a Western space, those rituals don't happen. You are just brought in as the president. You are voted in, and that's it. So I'm trying to figure out if you think that has an impact on the quality and the nature of their leadership.
Yes, because they leave their ancestors behind. They leave the spiritual guidance behind. In them leaving the spiritual guidance behind, it makes it easy for them to leave that at the door. Yabo into engishoyo. Now uyasho ukuthi kunosiko lokuyibeka inkosi. Umongameli uyafana nenkosi.
Yeah.
Yabo. Kodwa manje, because that space is not ruled by indigenous law. That space also works to its wits to exclude indigenous law as much as it can. Think about it. If they had to then include indigenous law and bring in tribal leading, like tribal leadership and usiko oluhlangene naleyo nto, they would not be able to operate within the parliament space because it would hold them to certain moral law. And with the corruption and fraud that's happening, they would be scared of not upholding the moral law because if they don't, bazoflytelwa amadlozi. So it's strategic as well. Let me not bring this element into this space because then I have to stick to a certain spiritual moral law or indigenous moral law. And if I don't, it's going to breed chaos in my life. You understand?
That's interesting.
So strategically, if you think about it, the way that government and the way that parliament is built, the amount of corruption and fraud that's happening in the space, bebengeke bakwazi ukufaka idlozi ngaphakathi. Because it means ukuthi mangabe befaka idlozi limsulwa ngaphakathi. They are constantly risking themselves baflytelwa amadlozi.
Are you saying that actually this sorry to phrase it like this?
Can I say something?
Okay.
Just to share information as Umhlaba. The very parliament actually is built by stones taken from Europe. So maybe there is something to it spiritually that can be read from that. But I wanted us to also talk about I want to bring, because the people will say this is not want to talk about the realities that we're facing today. So there's something called development that is happening even in villages. A mine wants to start a mine, put fencing there, and now suddenly we're losing access to a lot of things that we had access to. What does that mean to us? What does that mean, losing access to the very nature that we are all in the name of development? Is this development? Is this what
It
is
just means that we are being bullied by the concept of capitalism, which is a colonial concept. And because they are trying to strip the value of everything and cut it down to financial currency, right? It just means that they are capitalizing and they are industrializing and they are globalizing and they are bullying us into it. It's a tact of being bullied, and unfortunately, with the leaders that we have, we are being used as collateral. For the many corrupt and fraudulent agreements that they are making with other parts of the world. And so other parts of the world are seeing what they can take from the space. And so they will legalize their bullying and they will legalize their violence like they did in the colonial time. It's just a subtle form of colonization again. They call it development because
Mm.
because they've cornered us into this poverty, this fake poverty. Do you know what I mean? Because we are not a poor people,
Yeah.
but they have forced us into a corner of fake poverty. In this fake poverty, they'll consistently tell you, no, you have nothing. Your land means nothing.
Mm.
This means nothing. You have nothing. So you need to regain value again by attaching certain concepts to the things that you have.
And we are the dispensers of value.
You understand? They are the dispensers of value. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's just a for me, it's recolonization. It's just a subtle form of recolonization
Mm.
that's been legalized.
I mean, what you just said right now and what you were talking about earlier kind of brings up a question for me about centralization, centralized governance. Do you think that's part of the problem? Because in terms of Isintu, you have a mutual relationship between individualism and collectivism,
Mhm.
in a sense that my home, we have our own rituals and ceremonies that are governed by my family. They're not governed by Ingosi or some central figure somewhere. So there's some sort of autonomy, and also in relation to land, and then there are things that are central, which are sort of governed centrally or that are sort of overseen centrally, and yet the governance system that we're in centralizes everything. So I'm starting to think, maybe let me not phrase it as a as a question. Maybe you can comment on that. I think that might be the problem for me because it actually takes power away from the people. Now, you see people looking at government for everything, for solutions, because I'm starting to think that this question of land will not be resolved centrally. We may need to take our power back. So perhaps how do people take their power back in terms of resolving the question of land? And also in relation to what you said about the strength and the significance of connections with land. So that's just like
If we have to think about the
it's a mouthful.
collective first,
Mm.
yeah? In our ways of being, even in the family, siyayazi into yobana, everybody has a spiritual communal responsibility.
Mm.
Ne? So you have a spiritual communal responsibility in the form of the ndimohlabayo ekhaya,
Yeah.
for instance,
Mm.
right? So you know that according to our indigenous law systems and spiritual systems, there's a certain way of being that
Yeah.
you are then committing yourself to living. Iyafana nobunyangi, sivume ukufa, right? There's a certain way of being you are committing yourself to. It's a moral code.
Yeah.
Right? So the reason why we are as a collective constantly crying about this individualism causing people to turn their backs on community, right, is because this is something that is now no longer as prevalent to practice. Few families hold those sentiments still, right? So when you have a spiritual responsibility and then there's a communal spiritual responsibility saying ndimi imboni yasekhaya noma yimi ophuphayo ekhaya, and my job is to live to a certain moral code so that I can upkeep this connection, right? And upkeep this responsibility to my community. Now, as long as there's a lack of a moral code to live by, and as long as you are not being given the conceptualization of having a responsibility towards your fellow human, it's going to be a long time before we have these conversations. If we can't kick out the systems that are continuously oppressing, it's going to be a long time before we can take back that conversation ourselves. We are not having the conversation amongst ourselves. And if we are, it's only politically and economically. We are not bringing in the spiritual aspect of it. Because had we to be bringing up the spiritual aspect of it, people would know how to upkeep that moral code. Even your president would upkeep that moral code. Because in his rites of passage, as umuntu omnyama, as umZulu, indoda yomZulu, there are certain moral codes he's supposed to live by. Nalowo mvenda futhi. There are certain moral codes, spiritual indigenous moral codes that you live by, which we are not
Sonke
bringing to
esabantu.
the surface as abantu,
You
and which we
see,
are not bringing, and we are not holding each other accountable.
mm,
Ngayo. People are being again. People are being blackmailed. People are being put in hard corners. Iy'nkosi zethu ezithatha umhlaba
mm, yeah.
are being put in hard corners because now they're turning their leadership into only a political leadership. You understand? So iy'nkosi zethu are now having to give economical and political answers to things and cannot uphold that spiritual or indigenous moral code, right?
Mm,
Because
mm,
they are being outrun by Western law.
mm. Hlaba, did you want to say something?
Just that we probably do not know how much we have lost then when we have lost the land,
Mm,
how much power we have given away when we have given away, when the land was taken away from us, because clearly land is beyond the seen. Land is also the unseen. Land is also is power. Land is moral code, as we are speaking about it, and therefore, when we are dealing with the state, we are dealing with something that is huge but lacks something very huge. So we are not also recognizing that which we have, which we can use against this state in terms of fighting with it, so that we can then be able to be. So we are always trying to throw stones at them, but they actually have guns. Maybe we should change the strategy and use that which they do not have, morals, for instance. They do not have any morals. Maybe we should be a moral society, so that we are able then to do things that they're unable to, and become the best selves to ourselves before we can then claim. Maybe the call is for us to go back to Africa before Africa comes back to us.
mm. I mean, yeah, thank you for that contribution. I mean, talking about the challenges with centralized state, Ifi Amadoume talks about anti-state societies. They did their research in, I think, in Nigeria, where they talk about these ancient societies that actually refuse to centralize for problems similar to what we're talking about. I think in going back to Ambo, is actually recovering those knowledge systems, because really I'm becoming highly suspicious of centralized systems, because we are not completely centralized systems ngokwesintu, and there's something to that. And I feel like the current governmental systems are actually centralizing power in order to exploit us, in order for us not to wake up to the fact that actually we don't centralize for a good reason. There's intelligence in not centralizing. And also, I think, I mean, you highlighted so many problems, and I think one of them that I would like to touch on is you talked about birth. You are born in hospital, not born at home, and so you come home incomplete. And also, people don't die at home anymore. People die in hospital. Umphefumulo wakho uphuma esibhedlele, meaning then your spirit is left in that space. And I'm pretty sure there are many people who are not fetched from hospitals. So, and also, I forget this book that I was reading. This author was talking about how when an old person, when an elder dies by a yolela,
Mm.
leaving behind messages of how things should be done and wisdom, really. So now, if you die in hospital, it means that there's no opportunity for that. It seems as though the system is actually designed against our spiritual ways of being. So I want to reconnect this to the first point you made, that actually we've been attending to the question of land from a political and economic point of view, whereas actually we need to be fighting it spiritually, because that's where the fight is. So, because we're functioning in a capitalist and Western time register, and now we're running out of time. But I would like you to touch on solutions. What do you think? Because these conversations, honestly, they need more time, because there's so much that we are navigating through, trying to grab what we can grab, trying to piece together a thread that will make sense. So, yeah, now time limitations are that's an enemy. But anyway, what do you think are solutions? How do we begin to unravel and to discover ourselves and return ourselves to ourselves and land to us?
So thina ngokwesintu uma ngabe I'm gonna try and say it fast. Uma ngabe uma ngabe sizama ukuzelapha, we go back and sakha amabhoma and we go and live back in nature and we reconnect ngegobongo kanye isilawu nedlozi, the spirit of that land and the spirit that we carry within us that gains strength from that land. So I would say reinstating ancestral veneration for ourselves first, right?
Mm.
Right. Secondly, that wound that I spoke about, that big, big gaping wound,
Yeah.
the TRC was supposed to come after the cleansing of that wound. TRC was not complete. TRC did not continue. TRC ended where it ended because of the fact that we could see the reason why Singaxoli and the reason why we are constantly crying is because that wound is sitting open. Now, every time you want to talk to me about forgiving you for something that has not even healed yet, I don't even have a scab on
Yeah.
this thing yet.
Yeah.
It's 30 years since well, we call it democracy with my friends. Since democracy,
Democracy.
it's democracy, babes, because I don't even have a scab on this wound yet. Yet you are talking about me forgiving you. I haven't even healed. I haven't been able to ukuhlanganisa amakhathakhatha and ngizilaphe.
Now, if I may
So we haven't.
quickly interject there, I don't think the statement is forgive me. It's actually, I was not there.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there. You can't blame me for apartheid. You can't blame me for history. I wasn't there. That's what the young people are saying. People our age are saying. So I think you're being generous when you're saying, forgive me. And I'm taking that back. I'm taking that away because that's not what it is.
Yes. So that reconciliation process, babies, again. There can be none of that. Why? Because they knew that if that wound sits open, it's easy to keep on poking at it and keep on keeping you weak. Because if a wound is not healing, it becomes infectious.
Mm.
And when it becomes infectious, it does what? It kills you. So the death is continuous. The infection is continuous. The poking at the wound. No, we left a wound open. We know what we're doing strategically.
Okay.
Want to try?
Yeah, why clear that?
Don't say no more.
Yeah, why clear that?
Because I'm gonna be short.
What
guys.
you
I'm gonna
are
have to go into
saying,
hiding, guys.
what you're saying is so important because it's manifesting at what we are seeing with the crisis of black masculinity.
Yes.
Look at what black men are doing to the black community, to black women. You know, a lot of black men. I'm sorry, this is not an attack on black men, but this is stating the facts and describing what I'm saying. A lot of homes are female-headed. A lot of children are raised without their fathers. And what I'm seeing right now, because it seems as though the attack was on older black men for a while, but now the problem is with young black men. It's like, what did Bob Marley say? Kill them while they're young, so they don't grow or something. I'm failing to cite that.
So
But
before the tree gets strong enough to
exactly,
bear fruit or to bear any shade,
exactly. That's
it's
where they
killed off.
that's how the infection of the gaping wound is manifesting right now.
Yes.
The crisis of black masculinity that we're experiencing. And on that note, I think we should bring this conversation to a close. And now we're gonna look at people and works that would like to spotlight. And from my side, there's a book that I'm currently reading. It's a book by Umbuso Wenkosi, and its title is These Potatoes Look Like Humans: The Contested Future of Land, Home, and Death in South Africa. I mean, just to give you a sort of like synopsis of what the book is about, I don't want to, spoil the book's words because I think this summary just, captures exactly what the book is about. These potatoes look like humans offers a unique understanding of the intersection of land, labor, dispossession, and violence experienced by Black South Africans from the apartheid period to the present, critiquing the narrow materialist and legalistic arguments about the land question. Umbuso Wenkosi recognizes that for most Black South Africans, the meaning of land cannot be separated from one's spiritual and ancestral connections to it. So, here's a book that's worth reading. So I'm going to hand over to you, Gogo, if you have anyone or anything that you'd like to spotlight.
A really, really good mentor for me, and she doesn't even know it, but a really good role model for me, and a really good uh, 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 African scholar, Dr. Kanyisile Litchfield Shabala,
Oh, yeah.
one of my favorite
Mm.
humans in the world, because as she doesn't just teach it theoretically. She also teaches practically what does it mean to be reinstating this. The conversations we had today talking about reinstating. She's saying, yeah, I can answer you academically,
Yeah.
but what really matters
Yeah.
is what happens as above, so below.
Mm.
At the moment, what's happening is academia means as above stays above
Yeah.
and never, never, ever becomes below.
That brings us to the close of this very important episode. And would like to say thank you to our guests, Dr. Chrissy and uGogo Ubazamile. Gogo, siyabulela ngokuba nathi namhlanje and giving us your time and your presence and your energy. Would you like to say any closing words?
Yo. Kamaku, Tiane. I think my only thing would be in South Africa, we need to open our eyes to the reality of what was stripped from us, because then we'll begin to understand how to fight this battle.
Siyabulela Gogo. Hlaba, any closing words?
Ubuntu mabande, Gogo, siyabulela Mlanya. Enkosi, bye-bye.
Thank you, Mhlaba. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And please don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms, on Twitter at LuckyCity and other platforms. I forgot what other platforms are. Someone will remind us. Thank you, everyone. Bye.